It seems as though no matter where we drive in the Tampa Bay area, we're always getting stuck in some form of traffic. Traffic congestion wastes fuel, time, and money while increasing pollution, our stress, and our dependence on foreign oil. In February 2010, Forbes magazine released a study that ranked the Tampa-St. Petersburg area dead last among 60 major American cities when it comes to commuting. A major contributor to that dubious honor is the lack of transit service in our region. While detractors claim that too small a percentage of our population uses transit, research shows that without public transportation, travel delays would increase by more than 27% and cost the U.S. nearly $20 billion in lost time every year. These facts, along with the demand for increased transit service in our region, are why local leaders are working to build a transit system that will make our region competitive with other metropolitan areas of similar size. Many of those efforts have focused on the introduction of some form of enhanced bus or rail transit. The problem is, there are several very different forms of these transit modes, which can be easily confused with each other. That's why we developed this video, to help explain the differences between various rail and bus transit modes. We'll begin with perhaps the most talked about and controversial form of rail transit in America today, high-speed rail. This is a transit system used to link large, densely populated metropolitan areas. High-speed trains are traditionally very long, make very few stops, and travel at speeds up to and exceeding 160 miles per hour. The cars are big, heavy, and run on specially built dedicated tracks. The federal government offered to fund high-speed rail between Tampa and Orlando, but that project was rejected by Governor Rick Scott. Despite the loss of the high-speed rail project, there are still plans for enhanced transit service throughout the Bay Area that include modes such as light rail and bus rapid transit. This is one of the country's newest light rail projects in Phoenix, Arizona. Light rail trains usually run nearly level with the adjacent roadway for easy boarding and alighting. They run at lower speeds, are electrically powered, and stop more frequently than high-speed or commuter rail. Recent light rail projects in Phoenix, Charlotte, Salt Lake City, Denver, and Portland have all shattered initial ridership projections and have been surprisingly successful. In fact, officials in Phoenix say their light rail line has proven so popular that naysayers and those who oppose the project can hardly be found anymore. The optimal target market for light rail is between 8 and 15 miles from a major destination. Stops are usually located about every mile along the route. Typical light rail lines have trains running every 10 to 15 minutes during rush hour. What's more, because they're easy to use and have more frequent stops, light rail systems tend to have strong ridership during off-peak and weekend hours. That also promotes improved land use and greater transit-friendly development along the lines. Commuter rail, on the other hand, which by the way is what is planned for Orlando's Sunrail, is similar to what most of us would call traditional passenger trains. Notable commuter rail lines include MBTA in Boston, the Long Island Railroad, the new North Star line in Minneapolis, and Tri-Rail in Miami. The cars are much heavier than light rail and require stairs or station platforms for boarding. Commuter trains are often powered by large diesel engines. The target market is 20 to 50 miles from a major destination, and trains usually run every 20 to 30 minutes. Stops are fairly infrequent and usually placed in densely populated towns with spacious park and ride lots and bus transfer facilities. Many commuter rail systems only operate during normal business rush hours, which is where the name commuter rail comes from. The last classification of rail transit that we're going to look at is one that is often and easily confused with commuter rail. It's known as heavy rail. Examples of heavy rail would be Chicago's elevated rail system or the New York City subways. They are large, electrically powered trains that run at high frequencies and carry an exceptionally heavy volume of riders within large and densely populated metropolitan areas. Although rail transit tends to grab the headlines, executives from successful systems worldwide agree that rail service will only be as successful as the supporting bus transit systems. In other words, if you don't provide fast, efficient, and reliable bus service to the trains, the rail system won't be successful. This is why significantly enhanced bus service is playing such a large role in the future plans for Bay Area transit. Much of the planned service is known as Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT. Flexible and relatively inexpensive, BRT usually involves buses running at high frequencies, such as every 5 to 15 minutes. In some cases, BRT lines will run in their own lanes or right-of-way, as seen here. Others will employ special jump lanes at intersections that allow the BRT vehicles to bypass traffic and improve travel times. BRT buses, by the way, can be anything from traditional transit vehicles to modern double-length stylized train-like buses. BRT lines can also be used for limited-stop express service. In Pinellas County, plans are already in place for a transit foundation of BRT service along the county's top corridors. The last mode we'll look at is express bus service. Express service operates very much like commuter rail between heavily populated areas and along major commuting routes or highways with limited stops along the way. Optimally, the route will be served by park-and-rides where people can leave their cars and enjoy a worry-free, affordable commute. Express bus service often uses coach buses with amenities such as power outlets and reclining seats so riders can have a choice of working, reading, or snoozing during their commute. We hope this presentation has been helpful and would like to leave you with one last bit of information. The Tampa Bay metro area is the 20th largest in the United States. Yet for decades we've spent significantly less on mass transit than every other of the nation's top 25 cities. If we are to have the quality of life that an area of our population deserves and remain economically competitive with the other major metropolitan areas around the country, then we're going to have to start adequately funding public transportation. To keep up with the latest transit developments in Pinellas County and the Tampa Bay area, log on to psda.net or follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for watching.